moving next to you.
Hello, everyone. Come closer, Stevie. Come closer. Come closer. How are you, everyone? Tonight, it's the end of the year.
Yes.
I don't reckon we're actually going to get to have a chat, so we love you and Merry Christmas. Have a good one.
Drive safe.
Yeah, don't drink and drive. Remember, being on a mobile phone, big trouble, 10 points. It's a bit of a trial period going on, but keep an eye out to be careful. Hey, what are you talking about tonight, Mr. Bublo? Stefan Bublo, Mark Novak.
Novak Properties.
Real estate agent for very, very long. Real estate agent for very, very long. Giving you our wholesome.
Yeah. Couple things probably to talk about is you've heard us talk about recaps and things in the marketplace before. We'll speak about that a little bit, but tonight we've got a really, really interesting topic, which a lot of people, when we're talking property, really don't pay attention to. And right now, with the market where it is and what's forecast still to be ahead, this is really the key to it. A lot of people think it's property, buying it at the right price or selling your home and making those moves, at the right price points. But there is a hidden factor that you should probably be paying closer attention to. And that's financing.
It's financing. Financing is, if someone came to me and said, look, Mark, fucking 30 years of experience in the business, my kid wants to buy, me and my husband want to buy, we need some help. Fundamentally, probably the number one thing, we're going to give you some lessons tonight on housekeeping for financing, things to do and don't do for financing, how to get yourself in position. But it feels weird, Steve, as a real estate agent to actually be talking about real estate, but finance. It's almost like, hang on a sec, you're a real estate agent, get back in your corner. But if we don't entertain this, if we don't talk with people about this, then we're actually, they're not going to get the loan, they're not going to do the business. Yeah. So where there was times where contract law was a heavy focus for real estate agents, when gazumping was around, we're covering our bums because everyone was getting stuffed around by getting anti-gazumping.
Yep. Then
it sort of turned to it's almost like a different thing all the time. Now it's timing. Before it was a GFC or a recession.
Yep.
There's always different aspects that we've got to actually sugarcoat. It's almost like sugarcoat.
We're always dodging and moving around.
Dodge or
Yeah. I like how you say that.
You know what I mean? There's always something. And every time, even when we run a story, just want to say g'day to everyone. Two old dogs. Birds. What we're talking about?
Take it easy.
Billy the kid wants to buy. We did a story today. Billy the kid went off. Lisa Novak, g'day. Do you want to move in a little bit? So it looks like you're actually sitting back a bit, I reckon.
Oh, forwards.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sit forward. Yeah, nice. I think I'm being pushed out a bit. Move over. So, okay. So the catalyst is financing.
Yep.
If you need financing, you need a
really smart broker, first and foremost. I hope that's what you were pointing at me for.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what I'm going to say.
That's it.
Now, we are fortunate. We work in this industry and we know some absolute geniuses. And this is really their forte, I'll be honest with you. And we have both professional and, behind the scenes conversations with them when dealing with our own, personal affairs or business decisions that we make. A good friend of ours. Is that going to come up?
They come up.
Oh.
Gonna do it? Oh, yes. Look at that. Okay. What did we do our action today? Mark Conway. What does he do? Applause does well.
Cool. So Mark Conway is a genius that we work with. He is
particularly at this time.
At this time, in all times, I'll be honest. Yeah. We've worked with him for a number of years, and the things that this man can do is incredible. And at this time, I was lucky enough, I know Mark quite well, and we had had a bit of a personal chat just now at the Christmas party about positioning myself for the future. And Mark and I have been talking about it off screen, and we wanted to share, some of the things that we're going to be looking into, and particularly the key question I asked Mark Conway, Mr. Conway, was, if I go to the bank now, what does the bank want to see? What do they want me to look like when I'm sitting opposite them, in front of them, and they're looking at my figures, looking at what I'm buying, what do they want to see? Essentially, they want to see a healthy, how can I put it? A healthy history. What do we got here, man? Shaping. What do you mean by shaping?
Getting into shape.
Ooh, getting into shape.
Mark told you to get into shape.
Get into shape. Get into shape.
Didn't he say that when he said, and Steve's a really good example because it's a real life, like we're saying, Catalyst is financing. You are going through this exact situation at the moment.
Yep.
So Steve's got a familia, Bambinos,
yes,
lovely wife, lovely parents, family around, love Warriewood.
Yep.
And now we're not going to talk dollars, but we're not, but you're positioning yourself into a new home, and the new home you're positioning yourself into. First thing you do, even as a real estate agent, the best buys, how to buy, where to buy, what to buy, prices. Yep. Like there's no person that's more intimate with real estate than this guy and us.
Us as agents,
But even we struggle with the whole concept. And our first point of call is
it's finance, Mark Conway. So the chat I had with Mark, and it was pretty social at the time, but obviously he and I have spoken a little bit since. Is what's the bank want me to look like? What shape, what physical shape does the bank want me to be in? And essentially,
do you fit into their square hole?
Do I fit?
And if not, what does it take to fit into their square hole?
Yep, good question. And the square hole changes, which we'll get to.
That's right.
It'll become a round hole shortly, and then it'll be a triangle hole.
And really good point.
But right now, the square hole, from what we were talking about, was the banks really want to see a healthy period of transactions. Yep. At the moment, they want to see around 3 months. So if you can provide, and the brokers can talk to you a little bit better than we can, but if you can show them a very healthy, sharp fit snapshot of 3 months worth of activity, of disciplined spending, of disciplined saving, minimizing, certain costs, trying to limit, how am I going to say this? Trying to limit transactions that might be on a card, go back to the old days of cash is king if you can for certain things too.
Well, that was off camera. We had a bit of a chat about that. And Steve said, I don't really know how to say that on camera. And I've
said it.
They're breaking the law.
I'll see you soon.
And we're not going to break the law.
We're not.
But part of your shaping and getting to fit is, believe it or not, the banks are over your account more than you are.
Yeah.
They are developing a perception of you more than you are. They're trying to understand you and plug it into a computer more than you do. They are trying, they want to give you the loan, but they are trying to cover their ass at the moment because the Royal Commission.
Look what happened.
So, couple of tips, and this is going into the subject of what we're talking about right now. Obviously the catalyst, but we're talking about financing. And as part of that, we're talking about shaping. How do you shape?
Yeah. So to shape, you just want to be disciplined. Disciplined with your spending. You want to just have that good, clean transaction history for 3 months.
Yeah.
I think. And what's that mean? Obviously, there's luxuries in the world, but I mean, if you're moving between property and you're upsizing, there's going to be sacrifice with that anyway. So it's a good thing to start you in the right direction. But really, it's just being smart with what you're buying over that period. Have a look at where your expenses are going, what you can bring back a little bit.
Well, they're looking for bad habits.
They are.
They're looking for bad habits. They're looking for bad habits that are frequented by you. It may be going to it may be banking. It may be in your banking. You may TAB. You may have had a punt.
I don't punt. Just
Melbourne Cup.
Just clear that up.
Okay. So you're not a gambler, but you went to Melbourne Cup and you bet $50, and then they're going through the last couple of months. Oh, look, yes. Now you can't tell me, and I know this. You can't tell me that these guys aren't going to qualify that and say, okay, Melbourne Cup, sure. But you won when you went to Melbourne Cup and you put another bet down a week later and they go, this guy's a gambler.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't want that stuff. So and are they going to get access to it? Yes, because you're going to give them your savings account, and you're going to give them potentially your loan accounts. You're going to give them your credit card accounts, or they're going to have access to that automatically, which we're going to talk about shortly. And then they're going to say, okay, cool. He's only gambled twice, but we're going to rate you on that.
Yeah.
So they're going to mark it down. There you go. Here, 2 punts. Okay, great. Now they're going to look at stuff and go, okay, well, does the guy spend a lot on takeaway? And they're going to go, well, not really. Everyone does Uber Eats, but okay, this guy every Tuesday is doing Uber Eats for lunch and Uber Eats for dinner, and we've seen that for 12 weeks in a row, and we've seen that for 24 transactions. We have to actually consider this.
Yep.
So that's shaping.
Yeah.
So how do you get around that?
Look, around the Uber Eats, I think guys make your own meals and bring them in. But it just comes down to being disciplined,
Yeah.
And
if and again, yes. Part of what we're doing about shaping is just have a clean bill of health. It just means that if you do have to do that transaction, just try to ask to get it done by, I'll give you an example. If I was going to Melbourne Cup, I would walk down with $50 cash to the TAB, and I would make my punt once a year. I only recommend gambling on, not at all. But if you must, it's that right. Sort of shaping and that clean bill of health. You want to take your 3 pieces of paper, your loan, your credit card statement, and your savings statement and your mortgage statement. You want to take those to the bank and give them 3 months and seriously look really healthy on there. You do not want one piece on there that is going to make them adversely look at you. And if you guys think I'm joking, go test it for yourself.
Yeah.
Because we see it happen.
Absolutely. And they're looking at everything. Absolutely, they're looking at everything. Since the Royal Commission this year, the banks have got a responsibility now to do that. But a little bit earlier, we made a joke about the holes being, a square at the moment to jump through.
Yes.
There's nothing saying that the future is not going to be a square. It's going to be a circle, and you're going to have different criteria that you're going to have to jump through.
Michael Burgess talking about luxury goods.
No luxury, Michael. Cut it out. It's enough for you.
Okay.
But so what's the future really hold for us in regards to lending? Look, Mark and I, we're not brokers, but from what we've heard is that the criteria on which we're being judged at today is very highly probable to be different, maybe this time next year, and to a point where they will probably be looking at your history, not a 3-month history, but in excess of maybe 2 to 3 years history. So they're really, really going to be, keeping a close eye on you. And
what's it called? Comprehensive credit reporting.
That's it.
That's right. I actually did forget. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Comprehensive credit reporting. Comprehensive credit reporting, guys. That's changing because comprehensive credit reporting is going to be moving across all banks. Now we've got about 30 banks. I believe it's going to be happening to them first to the next 21 of them, and I believe it's going to be happening over the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Comprehensive credit reporting. Do you know how we just spoke about 3 months of good behavior on your savings statement, on your credit card statement, and on your loan statement? If you find that hard, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, for 3 months, that's what you have to do to qualify for a loan today. Now, the direction it's going, is it easier or is it harder?
Looks like it's going to be harder.
Okay, so they're going to claw back not 3 months, the banks, they are going to claw back 24 months. 24 months, your mortgage, your credit card, and your savings account, all mortgages, all credit cards, all savings account, if you have more than one, they're going to look at it for 24 months. Now, I challenge you guys to pull out your last 24 months of any of your statements and highlight all the naughty things. We've had mentions here of luxury goods. We've had mention here of Melbourne Cup. We've had mentions here of Uber Eats, Uber, Deliveroo. It's the habits.
Yeah.
It's habitually they are looking at you and they are assessing if you're going to be great for a loan. Even if they want to give you the loan and they love you because you've got a great income and they love you because you've got a great deposit, they're going to knock you back over that documentation if it's not strong.
Yeah, spot on. So really, really key, get into this as soon as you can, because this could be something that, inadvertently is also going to affect the property market potentially.
Well,
we'll see.
Look, if you guys didn't realise, the last 2 years of the property market was not affected adversely. How it has, we used to use a hammer, or we used to use a handbrake to slow down the property market. The handbrake we used to use in the property market used to slow down the property market. So when the property market had doubled in the early 80s, when it doubled in the late 80s, when it doubled in 93, when it doubled in 2000, what do we used to do to slow down the market?
Rates.
We put rates up.
Used to be rates.
Thank God you're here, Steve.
Thanks, mate. I'm glad I got it right.
Yeah, I'm glad you got it right. Okay, so traditionally in the last 20 or 30 years, when we tried to slow down our Australian property market, we threw the handbrake up, and that handbrake looked like a handbrake, it worked like a handbrake, and it slowed down the Australian property market. Now, everyone, when the market was going gangbusters, everyone was waiting for the handbrake to be pulled up. They knew it was in the center of the car. They knew what it did because it had worked in the last 5 property cycles. Everyone looked at the handbrake, looked at the handbrake, looked at the handbrake, looked at the handbrake, and then the car started slowing down, and they're going, we haven't even touched the handbrake. Why is the car slowing down? This is the Australian property market. The Australian property market was just slowed down without a handbrake. And the last 5 times we slowed down the property market, we used a handbrake. That is game changer.
Yep.
If you haven't realised, the banks have regulated our property market. They've slowed down our property market by financing.
Yep, absolutely.
They did a Royal Commission. Handbrake went straight up. It wasn't a handbrake. The car just slowed down, but they effectively worked the same. So financing, guys, is the name of the game. If you haven't realised, you don't have to worry about, we're all scared shitless about interest rates. You don't have to worry about interest rates anymore. By the look of it, it looks like you got to worry just if you can get the bloody money.
Yeah.
And that's why today we've talked about the catalyst in the market. The catalyst is getting the loan, is financing. You have to be a Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Now, before we had a cheeky broker who could actually who could actually navigate us through the minefield, but that does not help us anymore.
Interesting. And as an individual that's going through this, it's never more relevant. And you know what? I'm, one of several 100,000 Australians that are going through this. So, it's better if you can position yourself. These are things that you should really be considering now, because, like I said, 3 months, 6 months, this could be a very different landscape for applying and getting that money through banks. It's good. Sorry, man. I'm trying to fit in. I'm trying to fit in. We've got, for those that can't see, we've got 3 cameras going, and I'm half in one, and I'm fully in 2 others.
Luke Moroney says, are we saying carnage? No money for lending on property?
No.
Who will give the money? With this positive credit reporting 24-month info, only the rich get money, the rich get richer.
Look, it's in the government's best interest to have the property market turning over. So I don't think it's going to get to that extreme, but the banks have got a responsibility now as well, which we'll see.
Mark Conway
is
going to focus. And yes, Mark Conway, mortgage broker, you got to call him. Shaping.
Get in the gym.
Get into shape. Get into financial shape and start shaping. Luke, they're the things. First of all, good broker. Second of all, get yourself in shape. Now, if anyone hasn't realised, and we notice this because we're across a lot of different transaction, commercials, developments, single first home buyers, everything. If you haven't noticed, it's actually the rich guys cannot get the money. Now, with banks and with the way banks have actually regulated this market, they've been super clever. They've pushed forward safe loans and they've retracted backwards. They've handbraked risky loans. So a couple of things they've done. Let's have a look at how these clever puppies have actually slowed down our property market. They haven't just gone blanket across lending and said, we're going to root everyone on finance and we're going to make it really hard. They have been really, really smart. Who have they pushed forward? So they've pushed forward certain parts of the market, and they've put some shackles on certain parts of the market. Who they push forward?
There's definitely initiatives.
Steve's got his own street in Warrwood, by the way.
Boogaloo Street. Yeah, it's the best street on the beaches. Look, they've definitely supported the first home buyers. So there's still incentives in place. They're obviously putting in certain promotions in there. This talk of using your super and other benefits. So they're really focusing on getting people into real estate.
Awesome.
I think they've tried to tackle down, and this is just a guess, but I think they're trying to get people to own first 1 or 2 properties rather than having the guy that owns 5 owning another 5.
They've done what the alcohol companies have done. They've done what the cigarette companies have done. They've done what McDonald's with its Happy Meals done. The Australian government has tried to force young people to have good habits, to own their home, to get a mortgage, the great Australian dream, at a very young age. Because if they can start that pattern, it will just property ownership. We're one of the highest property ownership countries in the world.
Yeah.
And they want to support that. So they've actually pushed that ahead. That's one market they've been particularly operative in. There's always grants available. They're generally not taking them away. They're pushing them more and forward. They've done it in 3 tiers this time. First time, let's give you some stamp duty. Second time, we're going to allow you to use your super. Third time, if you've only got a 5% deposit, that's okay.
Yeah, that's
we're going to actually look after you there. So again, I'll go back to what I said. Where we used to get the scary interest rate up and everyone got the slap on their wrist. The slap on their wrist. Everyone got the slap on the wrist because the rates went from 7% to 9% to 12%. There was even markets where the interest rates went up to 19%. Everyone got the scolding. The good kids and the bad kids, they all got the scolding. Now, with money getting really hard, which kids are getting the scolding and which kids are getting helped and pushed on in the property market? Okay, we've established the kids that are doing well in the property market, the ones that are doing well, the government's pushing along first home buyers. Who else are they pushing along to get a property?
That's a good question.
One property owners. So if you own one property, the government still loves you.
Yeah.
The banks still love you, most importantly. So if you're a single property owner, you're just selling your 2-bedroom unit to buy a 3-bedroom house, you're good with getting a loan as well. It's not that hard. They don't shackle you up that hard. They give you a really good interest rate. It's a good life. So first home property buyers, easy for financing. One property owners, easy for financing. Now where it gets really hard, back to Luke Moroney's comment, if you're a second property owner, you have an investment property or 2 or 3, you are going to get punished. If you've got a super income, you're going to get punished. If you've got heaps of equity, you're going to get punished. So if you haven't noticed, guys, loans are easy for one property owners and first home buyers. If you are an investor with a second, third property, you better make sure you have a beautiful income, a lot more beautiful than what it used to be, and a beautiful amount of equity, a lot more than what it used to be. That's the fundamental critical change and swing I've seen in the property market from the last cycles that I've ever seen in the property market. No interest rates didn't go up. But yes, they put shackles on the second, third property owners, and then they've pushed forward the first home buyer, and they've pushed forward the one owner property people.
It's amazing when you think back, like you and I would have been sitting here, you know, probably 3 years ago, and it was completely reversed. If you were asset rich, the bank was more than happy to lend you money
Off the plan.
You know, now they're looking at cash flow. Before, if you had equity, mate, how much do you want?
Yep.
Thing. And today it's a different story, and that's where this lending, you know, is going to be a different story as well in the future. So, yeah,
We done?
We're done, I think.
Our job is done tonight.
Guys,
Thank you for listening.
thanks for viewing. We'll see you soon.
So
Recap.
mortgage broker, get a good mortgage broker. Mark Conway. Boom. Lesson 1. Lesson 2. Shape your financial self.
Yep.
Look good on paper. So look at your savings, look at your credit card, look at your
Uber Eats. Your Uber Eats.
Look at your Uber Eats.
Your habits.
Look at your habits. And my last one for the night.
That's probably the most important.
Before all the financing gets harder, before it all happens, because I told you guys that it's coming, comprehensive credit reporting is coming. Before it comes,
hurry up. Oh, you're so good at this.
Hurry the hell up. Look at my nails. Oh, they're terrible.
Your handwriting's getting better.
Hurry up, because if you don't get the loan, you're not going to be able to get the loan in 6 months' time if you can't get it now. So at the moment, before comprehensive credit reporting is out in full force with all banks, I believe it's only up with Macquarie Bank at the moment. It's going to be hard to get a loan. 2-minute noodles. Start living on them. Merry Christmas, everyone. Glenn,
Thanks,
Merry
guys.
Christmas. Steve, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Love you,
Everyone,
man.
drive safe
Love
too.
you.
Look, I think the reason we're on right now is we get all the views, so we wanted to.
Oh, they went bananas tonight. Look at all these.
Look at
Oh my God. But no, seriously, guys, have a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for the support over the year. It's been an incredible year for Novak and a lot of fun. Team Novak, there's 40, 50 of us full time here. You only probably see some of us on camera because a lot of us are shy. You'd be seeing a lot more of Steve on
I'm
camera,
working
apparently.
on it. I'm working on it. You'll be seeing more.
That's it.
Don't turn off. See you soon.
Take care, guys. Love you. Merry Christmas. Watch out for those police cameras looking at you on the mobile phone. Don't drink and drive. Love you. Buy a property. Pick up the bloody phone and bring us for advice. We are happy to tell you a lot more than we've told you tonight, which will be exactly wrapped around to what around you, rather than being broad like we are tonight. We're happy to help you. Call us. It's free advice. We've got great people we work with. We can put you in contact with.
See you soon. Merry Christmas.
You want to do a song?
What song?
Any song.
I don't know any song that you know.
Okay, don't
You
worry
know
about it.
the good songs. You know the love songs.
Bye, beautiful people.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.